Time shared on the water with friends and family can create memories that last a lifetime. Whether you're in the captain's seat or riding behind the boat, these experiences can open new doors that will help you make the most out of every summer. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Carro. Together, we're going to walk you through the basics of towed water sports to help you unlock a new level of confidence, so you can make the most of every minute on the water and go boldly into each adventure that comes your way. All towed water sports require a good amount of both teamwork and timing, wakesurfing more so than others.
The rider needs to work together with the driver to ensure the best possible experience. In this episode, we're going to focus on driving the boat for wake surfers of all skill levels.
If your boat is equipped with a ballast system, go ahead and fill it up based on which side the surfer has chosen to ride.
Luckily, this boat is equipped with a surf system that automatically sets up the ballast for us. But if your boat doesn't have a system like this, there are many ways you can set up the wake with aftermarket ballast and external wake shapers.
If you're unfamiliar with the process or just want to learn more, we've made another episode called How to Ballast a Boat for Wake Sports, so be sure to check it out.
Once the ballast is set up properly and before the rider gets in the water, always be sure of the following. You have the engine cutoff switch lanyard connected to you. The surfer is wearing the appropriate size and type of U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket. The driver's seat, steering wheel, and rear view mirror are correctly positioned for you. You have a dependable spotter that will promptly relay information to you. Lastly, you, the spotter, and the rider all know basic hand signals like slow down, speed up, turn around, and OK.
Now you can have the rider get in the water and grab the rope. Be sure they're a safe distance away from the boat before you start the engine. Once the engine is running, now is the time to enable the Mercury Smart Tow system if your boat is equipped with it. Smart Tow can set and maintain cruise speeds as low as 8 miles per hour, helping you to consistently create perfect conditions for wake surfing.
Next, go ahead and put the boat in gear. Be aware that some boats idle at higher speeds than others. You may need to shift the boat in and out of gear to control the speed appropriately as you remove slack from the tow rope.
Depending on a few variables, the speed for surfing should range somewhere between 9 and 12 miles per hour.
If you have wake surfed before, you'll know firsthand that it can be tricky to coordinate your foot placement while the rope is getting tight. So, as the driver, it's important to pay close attention to the rider and your spotter.
When the rope is tight and the rider says they're ready, promptly put the boat in gear and begin accelerating.
Hesitating at this point will make it much more difficult for the surfer, especially if they're a beginner.
If the rider is stuck in the wash directly behind the boat and having trouble getting out to the side, you can help out by slightly turning the boat.
If they're trying to get to the right, also known as starboard side, turn to the right. If they're trying to get to the left, also known as port side, turn to the left. To remember port and starboard, here's a trick I like to use. The words port and left both have 4 letters.
Turning like this will help pull them away from the whitewash directly behind the boat, assisting them with getting outside the wake.
When you're up and running, be sure to keep a close eye on the speed if you don't have Smart Tow. Also, watch closely for other watercraft and be ready to make any changes the surfer requests.
If the rider falls, gradually pull the throttle back and let the boat return to idle speed. Then turn the steering wheel all the way toward the side opposite of where the rider was surfing.
If they were surfing on the starboard side of the boat, turn to the left.
If they were surfing on the port side of the boat, turn to the right.
In almost all cases, the side of the boat the rider was surfing will have more ballast, so the boat will naturally want to turn in the other direction.
I like to leave the throttle at idle speed until the boat has turned a full 180 degrees. It's also a good idea to wait until the waves pass before you start to make your way back to the rider. Once the boat is turned and the waves have passed, head back toward the rider, keeping your speed at or lower than 5 miles per hour. Moving at a lower speed has many benefits when picking up a fallen rider. It creates fewer waves, the ride is smoother for passengers, water conditions are better for the rider, and it can save you money on fuel.
If you're using an external wake shaper, be aware that the boat will favor turning toward the side where the shaper is installed. It's especially important to keep that in mind as you approach someone in the water.
If possible, always keep the rider to the starboard side and stay at least 10 feet away. This will ensure you can see them at all times.
Once you're near the rider but are still at a safe distance, shift out of gear and wait until the boat stops. Then have the rider swim to the back of the boat to grab the rope. After that, you're right back at square one and you can follow the steps we mentioned earlier to get the rider back up.
It'll take you some time to be comfortable driving the boat for wake surfers, especially beginners. Don't be discouraged. If you stick with it, eventually you look forward to being in the captain's chair.
We hope you found these tips helpful. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Boating Basics presented by Mercury Marine.